Alrighty, well, a very, very happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is February 18th of 2026. Just getting my microphone kind of all vamped up here. It's interesting, my son kind of comes over, and he loves my desk. He loves sitting on my chair that I got from my sister-in-law over the holidays, and he loves just fiddling around with my table, and he loves just to get, just kind of imitate me in any shape, way, or form. And for the holidays, we got him a table, and we got him a table. It's his own little desk. It has activities on it, and it, has like a little play clock and this and that, and it comes with some boards, and then you could tip it up and have like a little slideshow, so it does ABCs and one, two, threes, and it's the coolest thing, and he loves playing with it. And but he still prefers my desk over anyone else. He still prefers to come on here and cause rackets, play with my audio mixer, play with my microphone, play with my laptop, and lately he's been liking to play with the knobs, which changed the voice on my on my sound. So if I do sound a little bit weird from time to time, just know the corporate is behind my son here. He's only two and a half, right? And so you can't blame him, but it's an ongoing process of, hey, this is my domain, this is my workstation. Stay away from it. And don't mess anything up. Well, on today's episode, we are going to talk a little bit about baseball, a little bit about football, and a little bit about the MLB The Show video game. And a matter of fact, let's start off our program talking about that. And the reason why I want to talk about that this afternoon is in relation to our YouTube channel. I kind of I don't really approach what I do on my YouTube channel much on my other social media platforms. I try to keep my other social media platforms related to the TNC Sports Talk as a sports related conversation. But I do want to fill some content in because we are coming to a beginning of a new baseball season, and the direction that I have for our YouTube channel, which is the prime and center, the epic center of all of this. And so I'm trying to, it deserves its own attention. But with all due respect, our channel has not grown to where it is at today if it wasn't for if it wasn't for the video games. So here's a little brief rundown of the history of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube page for those who have not followed us on our YouTube page. I highly encourage it. We started our channel back in 2021 on our YouTube page, the TNC Sports Talk. It's gone through a couple different names, but it first started off in the summertime in 2021, where I was talking to people, giving my opinions on sports and the takes and whatnot. And to be honest, it was, well, why can't I just create a video and share that among everyone else? Why do I have to keep it only within a conversation? So I invited some people to come on over and let's start a kind of like our own little podcast. Kind of worked out quite well to begin heading into the fall of 21. Recruited some co-host, and I thought it was a great experience. it all shifted, and my envision for the channel kind of took a shift at the beginning of 2022, where I felt that was more incorporated for a kind of sports talk hour, 2 hour long episode, 5 days a week. It was a lot of content too that we could create. That only went for about a quarter of a year. Since then, it was up and down throughout the remainder of 2021. Try to revamp it, try to go audio only. That didn't really quite work. In 2022, I tried to relaunch and restart my podcast on a daily basis. And at the same time, that didn't quite work out as well. Well, I decided in order to, keep consistent on the YouTube channel, I decided that I was going to switch over to video games. On the side, I have a little hobby where I play the franchise series on the football and baseball, and I also do a little bit of WWE 2K content. So that's where things kind of shifted. Um, I kinda bit off a little bit more I could chew that year because I couldn't complete a baseball season as I played for the Cincinnati Reds, and I took you down a franchise mode. Very shy at first, so I didn't really give you any much of content behind it, and I'm still learning how to do a lot of that, and so I decided that, I had to cut the season short and kept wrestling going. And then I revamped up in the football season, was able to get that completed. And last year, shifted a little bit, and majority of the so I was able to get a baseball season done. But instead of playing as one team, I was only playing as one. As I was playing as all the teams, but I was only going through the season and kind of pulling key games that I felt was going to draw a lot of interest on our channel. And that worked. And so I took you through the regular season and the postseason, which I stumbled upon, but I was able to accomplish. And I had a second successful year on of our Madden franchise series, right? And so coming into this year, my initial thought and idea was, look, I let me kind of revisit the baseball because I felt when I was just giving you content of computer versus computer, I was stepping away from the game. I wasn't as involved. I wasn't as informed and as educated of what was happening. It really took me away from the game. So, and it took me away from understanding about the Cincinnati Reds and where they're at. And trust me, these video games have really helped me stay in tuned and stay focused. So, I want to kind of bring back that franchise mode. And by doing that, I have to play as the Cincinnati Reds. I'm just within minutes of Cincinnati. I'm within minutes of Great American Ballpark, and I feel that I want to bring you a perspective that I tried to bring you a couple of years ago, and that was playing as a franchise with the Cincinnati Reds, 180 plus games, whether or not we went to the postseason or not. And what's great about MLB The Show is that you could select one team. You can play as one team and have access to play or watch any game via computer versus computer throughout the course of the season, as long as that game is done before you play your game. And that's great, right? So if I want to play every game for the Cincinnati Reds, I could do that. If I want to give you another game on top of that, I can do that. I just got to play that game before I play the next game. So, I like to walk through the experience. Now, I will tell you this. I this is what I did try to do this year. I wanted to give you some sort of background. I wanted to give you some sort of facial experience, some conversations overlay, and I just maybe I don't. I'm not. I'm approaching it the wrong way because I'm just not getting that done the way I want to get it done. So for those who are part of the gaming world or the gaming community, let me know all the information. I'm open to any suggestion. I would like to kind of give you that perspective because from what I was doing at the very beginning of this project was I was I could record it on my PS5 and then I could record my face and my audio expressions and whatnot on my computer, and then I'd have to go back in and match it up, and I'm just like, this is just not working out. So if there's a better way, I'm all for it. Now, I would honestly say I am not tech savvy. Dumbify it for me if you don't mind. Explain it in terms that I understand it as maybe a first grader would. But if you have any, intake on, hey, maybe I'm just using the wrong stuff. Maybe there's an easier way. So let me know if there's an easier way because I would like to provide kind of my reactions throughout the game, but without creating 4 or 5 different steps so I could be consistent with it. It's a long process. Now, I've seen, gamers, they simulate, March to October, they rebuild a franchise, they play Road to the Show, and yeah, I would like to spend some time and walk you through a Road to the Show as well, and maybe that's somewhere where I could be more vocal and give you more of a background. But those aren't going to be as on a daily basis as a Reds, as a MLB season. And I know the attention span for everyone. You really want to just get to the point, but I've seen people go, take it their own way, and I'm going to present it my way. So it's a combination of what we failed 2 years ago. We're going to retry that. And it's a combination of what I gave you last year. And so the design is that I'm going to give you a perspective on a daily basis where we play Cincinnati Reds season, and it will be played and posted and available at the correct times of the scheduled, schedule ahead of us. But then I will also throw in key games throughout the week. And those schedules, at least throughout the regular season, would be Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday. And under maybe certain conditions, we may throw in 1 or 2 more. I'm not trying to overcrowd my workload. But that is the concept. So I'm going to take it a little bit more further by saying we actually are starting back coming up here on, actually tomorrow, where we have taken the spring training schedule according to MLB The Show 25. And I say that because typically the Cincinnati Reds will play the Cleveland Guardians. But according to their MLB The Show 2025 schedule, they are playing the Milwaukee Brewers to open up spring training. But we will take the MLB The Show 2025 and we will proceed with a spring training concept. So I have a roster and I could talk to you about it here throughout the week and kind of walk you through. And then that will be something we will make a little time on this show. I can give you preparation and kind of a recap of what happened throughout these games. The one thing that I have to do, though, which is a little bit more difficult because I'm not live streaming this, is I got to get the recording done ahead of time. So I've already begin recording, and I'm about a week and a half ahead from when the spring training season starts. Which means that games, I think it's the Cubs and Dodgers, which begin tomorrow, and then we have 2 games on Friday, and then 2 games on Saturday. Well, 1 game plus the Reds game on Saturday, 1 game plus the Reds game on Sunday. Then we got 1 game on Monday, and so on and so forth, according to the schedule. Well, I gotta stay ahead because the goal is to be able to get the content out where I'm not falling behind. On top of this daily podcast series that we do here on the TNC Sports Talk and the work that I'm partaking with Enlighten Studios, my workload is filling up very quickly. So, what does that mean? Is that I'm talking to you here on February 18th. And I have about a week and a half work done. Now, I'm not going to go spiel out and spoil a week and a half work done, but they're going to get posted quite, quickly. And I will provide, like I said, a few minutes every day to give you updates, to give you what to expect on the upcoming episodes in series, along with what we're going to do with the Cincinnati Reds. So, the segment that we're going to be creating is designed for us to fill in those who are watching our gaming content, keep you up to date and informed about what's going on, provide as much content as possible for you, and change over time with the content that is being provided. So like I said, I don't quite know where this is going to take. I hope my goal is to really be ready to, I want to be able to follow through and complete this season. And the only way I feel I can provide that for you is to get as far ahead as I can and stay ahead. Because my objective is to have all of these spring training games completed before March 15th and through excuse me. And so that I can get the new game, MLB The Show 26, get situated and start that so I can start posting that sooner. All right. So that we are staying ahead. Now, what does that also mean is that, yeah, we're going to do our best we can to stay up to date with the rosters and the trades and the free agent signings. I made little brief adjustments to the Reds organization that we will discuss later this week for this series, but the overall concept of it was just minor tweaks. I try to make things as unique as straightforward as possible. I don't want to be unrealistic when I was adding to the Reds. So just here is a prime example. When I first started the spring training, I did add Miguel Andujar to the roster. I felt he was a key addition to the outfield, and I put Spencer Steer at first base. It took a little pressure off of Sal Stewart, maybe one of the guys I was considering to be placing on the bench. Well, earlier this week, or actually over the weekend, the Cincinnati Reds picked up Nathaniel Lowe, and I'm like, and I also understand that the Padres signed Miguel Andujar. And so, I haven't made that trade yet, and that's something I'm working on, but I will be making that adjustment where I'll be sending Miguel Andujar to the Padres while picking up Nathaniel Lowe and having to reevaluate that entire decision. The Reds DFA'd Ben Rotvert after picking up Eugenio Suarez. I still have Ben to my roster, and that we will explain later on this week. So, we are keeping up to date, but we are a bit behind. In these early games, you will not see things like, you will not see the update adjustments to the Padres roster or to the Dodgers roster or whatnot. You will get Kyle Tucker, but you're not going to get what's happening in the most recent days. As I get that information, I will be I update the teams the best I can, and therefore, we go from there. the whole dynamic is going to shift when we get the new game and the rosters are updated, and I have to make my own adjustments again, and that whole 9 yards. So, if this is something that you're entertaining, this is something that you think you'll be interested in, I encourage you to head over to our channel. We have our first couple games already posted in Premiere. Please subscribe to the channel and hit those notifications so you don't miss an episode. And hopefully you can enjoy this time on the segment. If not, I do apologize for boring everyone for the last 20 minutes and for any time down the road in the future. I don't want to confuse anybody for what is going on in the regular season, but I do feel like using this platform and using our show on a daily basis to provide updates on what's going on so you can stay up to date, at least until I can get a little bit more comfortable creating um, a face and video overlay on top of these games that I'm presenting. So that is the game plan for our channel. More will be discussed here tomorrow and heading into Friday. But the other thing that I like to also just point out, something that I'm thinking about, I'm encouraged to weighing in your opinions on this. What is the future time slots that we could possibly change for this show? And I say that because spring training is spring training. We can manage talking about Reds baseball on a level during spring training. But we also have this conversation earlier in the day. So I talk right now, it is about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The video gets posted by 7, and we get into sports conversations that kind of earlier in the day. So by the time you are listening to this, it becomes, well, it already happened. Or when the season begins and the Reds have a 1 o'clock game in the afternoon and we're still talking about the night before game, are you guys comfortable with that? Or are you guys wanting the most up to date stuff? I don't want to watch the game that goes until 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, then come on at 7. And in order to record, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, one of my other options was try to move up my recording date times to early in the morning, like immediately as soon as I can, 8 o'clock in the morning, uploaded by noon, where it will be posted before any games. So, want to get your opinion on that and see heading into the regular season if any of that change is something that we would be interested in. The best way to communicate that with us would be by commenting on our YouTube channel. Find this episode, leave us a comment. What is your opinion? You can find us on our social media pages and DM me and let me know, hey, let's weigh in. And so those are the options that I'm thinking of. I want to get your opinion uh, before I make any official changes, but just know it's heading into spring and summer. Changes are going to be made. With that being said, enough talking about our YouTube channel, enough talking about gaming. Okay. Let's get down into some sports conversations. Now, there was something that I saw on CBS Sports. It's an article that you could read from Carter Bonds. It was posted a couple hours ago, and I find this really interesting. And it's about the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes' contract and how the Chiefs are capable to reconstruct Mahomes' contract to help them financially open up some cap space heading into this offseason. The Kansas City Chiefs have reconstructed Patrick Mahomes' contract for the 4th consecutive season, according to Over the Cap, opening up tens of millions of dollars in salary space. Mahomes was scheduled to receive $78.2 million in a cap hit in 2026, but the Chiefs converted about 54.5 million of that of his salary into a signing bonus to lower the cap number to down to $35 million in 2026. This clears $43.5 million, give or take some, in cap spaces in the first step towards creating financial flexibility in what is a critical offseason for the Chiefs. I got to agree. The Chiefs did not have a year that I think a lot of people took surprise. I think a lot of people, including myself, expected the Chiefs to have a dominant season, a season where they won the AFC West, and a season where maybe they didn't go to the Super Bowl or they didn't win the Super Bowl. But I felt confident that the Chiefs were on a solid path to at least going back to the postseason and being elite contenders among the other AFC teams. And they really went in the opposite direction. And hey, all good dynasty teams, all good teams have their downfall. We've seen plenty of our fair share with the Cincinnati Bengals, right? They make it to the playoffs, they make it to the Super Bowl, they make it to the AFC Championship. And you would just think that that is something that they would continue into the next season. That's something that they just continue to thrive. And how can we only better ourselves to get over that hump? But no, we've gotten injured. We've taken a few steps back. And, especially last season where it's a season not to remember, to be honest. But the Chiefs have had some hits. And so I think this is it tells me a lot about Patrick Mahomes willing to open up some cap space. He's not losing any money. He's just reconstructing it so that he can help his organization in the offseason, whether it's drafts and picking up some top tier drafts, or whether it's coming out of, hey, here's a free agent that we need to pick up, or here is someone who's been released from an organization. Earlier this week, we've seen the Miami Dolphins release Tyreek Hill. And instantly, you kind of just, all right, well, what's Tyreek's next move? Well, that should be, hey, let me get on the phone to Kansas City because, look, Kansas City, I still think, if everyone's healthy and Patrick Mahomes comes back from his injury and he's better than ever, hopefully, I'm not doubting the Chiefs yet. I'm not doubting Patrick Mahomes yet. I still think that there is time that, depending how they bounce back and how they answer to last season this coming up year, that's where my judgment sits among, all right, the Chiefs dynasty's done. So they proved me wrong last year, right? It was never counting them out until they were eliminated. And they were eliminated. And it was still a tough pill to swallow. It was something that, as many times as I clean my glasses or I wipe my eyes, I just could not believe that the Chiefs, for the first time in I don't know how long, over a decade, that they struggled on the field to have a winning season or even to make it to the playoffs, which they didn't. So I respect Mahomes and this concept even more. You're opening up about 40, and $44 million that you could go pick up a player or even two on the defense perspective, or add to the wide receivers. And could there be a possible reunion with Tyreek Hill? Let bygones be bygones in this instance. And hey, come back over. You are still a talented and well-used athlete that can benefit and can use a source of a Patrick Mahomes to showcase. Because let's be honest, Tyreek Hill's time with Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins did not work out the way they wanted to work out. And there's a whole new direction out in Miami that they're projecting at this moment. So it honestly makes sense. But what else is out there, right? A lot of teams are making waves and trying to find ways they could open up caps. Between now and March 11th, right? We're seeing either we're going to determine who's becoming a free agent, who is being reconstructed in contracts or being offered contracts from organizations, and who has and who's really willing to make big steps forward. And this is a clear indication that Patrick Mahomes is on the Chiefs' side. Hey, he's like, hey, we know we need help, and how can I help this team regain power and talent so that we could go on and win another championship by reconstructing his contract to open up some cap space is a really big move. So, I know some people may think that that's a terrible move, but I think otherwise. But excuse me. This is something that has been done, and I look at this and I just, I'm asking. I'm sure Joe Burrow's willing to renegotiate contract. I mean, he's not making as much as Patrick Mahomes. He's probably, shoot, how much is he making? Probably more. I mean, he's making $225 million through the 2029 season that started back in last year. So, all right. It's about $55 million a year, with 219 of that guaranteed. Do you think if the salary cap for the Cincinnati Bengals is running low, would he be willing to renegotiate his contract? It indicates that the Bengals offseason for this year is about flexible, projected to between $52 to $78 million. And so is that enough for us, or do we need more? And would, I'm not saying it's going or needs to happen, but would, if it presents itself, Joe Burrow really willing to be able to renegotiate that? Or not. This is, and it says here that from projections of 2026 league, salary cap surpasses $300 million, allowing major roster improvements in free agency. So, I don't know. I think it's a, thing. And not a lot of people are that invasive in allowing that stuff to happen. A lot of them are greedy, and I hate to say it, but greedy and selfish. So, but Patrick Mahomes has renegotiated a little bit of his contract to help out this organization in building a team from their failures last year. The other thing is, all right, I know we talk about this. I feel like we are at the understanding that Trey Hendrickson and Cincinnati Bengals are parting ways, probably through a trade. The Bengals need to get something back for this former All-Pro pass rusher. I think it's inevitable. There is an option, though, to, I would say, franchise tag him again this season. I mean, he's set to be a free agent. The Bengals have a few decisions they can make. They could just simply let him walk within the realms and see what he picks up. And that wouldn't be a terrible idea, but you think of a top, I mean, I don't know if he's still considered a top. He's dealt with injuries last season that took him out majority of the year. But, we could also try to keep him either with a new contract or a franchise tag. Now, look, a lot of things that happened last year kind of scarred me in the relationship of the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson. So, I'm just talking nonsense, and just entertain me for a second. I know a lot of people are saying just get rid of him at any means necessary. Let's move on. But at the same time, we don't have a pass rusher, at least as good as what we have with Trey Hendrickson, despite his injuries. It wouldn't, unless we are positive, unless we know for certain, to be honest, just a hard reality look, unless we know for certain that either we're going to get a solid pass rusher on in this year's draft, or we are able to take a hold of the free agent market, which is going to be crazy this year. Every year is crazy, but what I'm saying is people are going to get paid. They want to get paid. You go see a contract available like Trey Hendrickson, you're going to want to get paid. And are the Bengals willing to put in that money into someone else? And that, for me, that is a question that I am unable to answer, because if I got to give you my honest opinion and take right here, right now, I say no. I think the Bengals are very cheap. And I don't think, if they're not willing to give a contract status to the magnitude of $30+ million to a guy like Trey Hendrickson, there's not there's a huge separation between Trey and a $16 million contract. So for me, I would at least be reluctant to keeping the option open of franchise tagging Trey. It keeps a pass rusher in here. Now, you hope that he's healthy. You hope that the mindset of wanting to play and wanting to win is a clear path. And hopefully that guys like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins have supported that and influenced him. And that's where maybe I don't see the same, sides here, because I haven't seen anybody from the Bengals side speak about Trey Hendrickson since the end of the year. And, to be honest, if that's the concern, then, let's value him in a trade. And that's what it seems like the Bengals are expecting to do, and we got to get something out of it. According to Shots, who is Matt Sullivan spoke of in this article. This article can be found on sportingnews.com. It's a possibility that the Bengals use their franchise tag on Hendrickson, who is about to hit free agency, but it seems that some sort of sign and trade deal is more likely. Bengals and Hendrickson are heading towards a split this offseason. And for the Bengals, they will want to recoup the most value possible in letting him walk. There's about 31 other teams. The Dallas Cowboys, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Chargers, that could use a Trey Hendrickson. It's just trying to get the right price. And if I am a team out there that's looking at getting Trey Hendrickson, okay, this is how fast football moves, you guys, I would be reluctant to getting him a call. It would be an interesting conversation to see, all right, well, what is the Bengals really wanting for him? But what are you willing to give for Trey Hendrickson? At what risk? To me, when I saw the confrontation during preseason last year, right, training camp, and I saw Trey Hendrickson sit out and, it was very, stern and stubborn, and I don't want that in an organization. So if I'm thinking from a different point of view, from another owner, from a different ball club, I'm asking myself those questions. What type of pass rusher do I want? And Trey Hendrickson doesn't fit that bill. Plus, you can't ignore the fact that he was injured all year. I don't know the status of how healthy he's going to be this year. And is that worth $30 million+ in a contract deal? So if the Bengals decide, hey, we are going to franchise tag you and trade you, what are they honestly able to get out of it? Is it worth a first-round pick? Is it worth a first-round pick and then more? Or is, really, realistically, what is it worth? And with his health and with everything that we saw last year, it's not like he led the league in sacks again this year. So is his value still as high? He may think so, but is it still as high as it was last season? All right, before we get into our next conversation, I just wanted to talk briefly about Enlighten Studios' upcoming theater production called Grassroots, going on from February 27th through March 8th at the Artsville Theater in Cincinnati, Ohio. We invite you to come out and support Enlighten Studios in their 2026 calendar production year. Grassroots is one of few projects that Enlighten Studios has in store for 2026. It fits great with Black History Month as it tells a story about the Gibsons, who was a black family and that moved into an all-white neighborhood back in the 1950s. They endure in powerless efforts of segregation, of discrimination, where they have to face truths of the neighborhood that comes out over a period of time. Their lawn gets disrespected and integrity rises as this story is being told from a perspective, from a family's perspective, narrated by their son Malik. I've had a great time so far getting to know the cast, getting to go to rehearsals and be a part of this team to make this production into a reality. And it's a great way as we head in, as we say goodbye to winter, as we say hello to spring, to see everything unfold. So we invite you to come out to Artsville February 27th through March 8th. There are 8 performances, 4 performances per weekend. We encourage you to get your tickets by visiting tickettailor.com. A link will be provided in the description below for you. You can save a few dollars by doing so. If not, tickets are available at the door. You'll be able to meet and greet cast members and be a part of Enlighten Studios' social media team as we want to hear your experience all the way through from the beginning to the very end of this production. I can guarantee you this is a production you don't want to miss. Enlighten Studios also has a weekly podcast channel called Light in the City. Light in the City has several podcasts throughout the week that informs you, keeps you updated of news and current events, on top of sharing stories about film and performing arts in the local city of Cincinnati. We encourage you to follow and check out their latest episodes by searching out Light in the City. I myself host a podcast episode launch every Monday evening that provides you news, updates, and current events around Enlighten Studios and the Cincinnati area. We encourage you to listen to our podcast, check out what's going on, and support us. You can follow Enlighten Studios on all social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and more, and by following us on our audio platforms. You can also check out and listen to Grassroots advertisement by listening to WGRI, and that can be found on 103.1 FM or 1050 AM. They are a urban gospel and a powerful ministry felt radio station, and we encourage if you listen to their radio station and hear our advertisement, we encourage you to head on over to our Enlighten Studios Facebook page, comment, and will be shouted out on an upcoming episode. Also, you guys could tune in to Fox 19 on Monday morning at 9:25 and Fox 19 Morning Extra, where you can hear the promotion of Grassroots on the news. You can also hear a brief interview by Tia Toney and Teresa Gordon, 2 cast members of the production, as they share in lights of what is expected to see come February 27th through March 8th. Enlighten Studios. Like, share, subscribe, follow, and be a part of the family. So, I'm looking at the Cincinnati Reds, and I'm kind of getting myself prepared for the 2023 or 2026 year. I want to give you a little peek about what we're going to be talking about tomorrow before we get into our final segment. Tomorrow, as well as we will share to you the roster that we have for our MLB The Show franchise series spring training. And we start getting you ready for first games as I think tomorrow at 3:05 p.m. on our TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. You could check out the Chicago Cubs taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers, game one of a spring training season at 3:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a computer versus computer simulated game provided from our MLB The Show 25 franchise mode series. Join us as we take you through MLB The Show 25 spring training as we lead up to the MLB 26 regular season. We will share with you highlight key games on selective dates, as well as we will walk you through the 2026 Cincinnati Reds calendar year. Be sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. Tomorrow we will go over the roster and upcoming games that you can expect on the channel. Tomorrow we will also review some things that the Reds will have to take importance to and pay attention to and accomplish and overcome in order to have a successful 2026 year. We'll also take a look at some potential battles at positions from other teams to pay attention to heading into spring training. All that and more is set to come in tomorrow night's episode. Just want to give you a teaser there. I caught myself, and I'll be honest with you, because I was going to talk about some Red stuff, but I really wanted to get into some WWE conversation. And I wanted to take some moment and reflect on the current storyline between the Vision and the Masked Man. This Masked Man has lingered around the Vision since Survivor Series last year. And it's kind of interesting because it first to be sought out, and they quickly revealed that the Masked Man was Austin Theory. So the first Masked Man was revealed within maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And now there's this new Masked Man that has yet to be revealed, has yet to been portrayed, but this time he has cost Braun Breaker his entrance into the Royal Rumble. He has cost Austin Theory in advancing into the Elimination Chamber. And he's kind of been this thorn in the side of the Vision by holding them back from their success and dominance on Monday Night Raw. Now, this is an interesting story that people may or may not enjoy, but what gets to me is that I'm all invested into the Vision. I support the Vision and the concept behind this form of team. Seth Rollins a year ago created this Vision in hindsight to create an opportunity for our future stars, the stars that are supposed to be or anticipated to being in our main event and replacing the stars we have now in the next 5 years. That's Braun Breaker. Austin Theory fits that bill. Bronson Reed. And let's not forget Logan Paul. Unfortunately, we saw Seth Rollins get hurt. So someone had to step up. Braun Breaker was that next guy. And, there was a clear indication that the WWE was going to push Braun Breaker. Going to have a WrestleMania match. But unfortunately, things happen and he gets hurt. He's dealing with it. Hopefully, he has a safe recovery. But since Braun Breaker's injury, there's been an uncertainty with what's the new direction on the Vision. Who is taking the reins and taking charge of the Vision? Yeah, you got Paul Heyman in their corner, but they're not really doing anything. To me, when you were watching the Vision grow week in and week out, you were focused around what's happening and how far can you push Braun Breaker. And it was getting close with Adam Pearce. Now, I don't have that clear direction with the Vision. And that's what troubles me. This prominent young group of talent that's being led by Paul Heyman, it feels like they are at a standstill week in and week out. As a matter of fact, they're taking some steps back. This masked man is costing them opportunities when they should be thriving, when they should be winning championships, and they should be running Raw. This masked man is stopping them, and it doesn't seem to me that there's no organized solution with who's now taking this lead. I felt that Logan Paul, for me, could take the lead. I think he's the more well-decorated person who's accomplished the most in a short period of time in the WWE. Austin Theory, who is getting this second life of hope that has really been shut down since his reveal back in December. And Bronson Reed, he could be dominant. They pushed him to be dominant until it was a clear separation between him and Braun Breaker. Well, this is his opportunity to shine. We know one thing is certain. We know that whenever Seth Rollins returns, if he returns with the vision, without the vision, he's going to thrive. We know that there is a future for Braun Breaker. There's no doubt about it. He has thrived in numerous ways. But what about these three guys? Can Logan Paul be fine on his own? Sure. But I question, without the proper push from Austin Theory or from Bronson Reed, then I question what their future holds with the WWE and if they're going to mount to anything. But a lot of this gets halted and gets put to a stop at the hands of this masked man. And the difference for this time around is that we're holding on to this masked man. We're not revealing him yet. He's going to come out. He's going to make his appearance. He's going to do his thing, cost somebody a match, and then run off. And this is that storyline that as it gets built leading into WrestleMania, how is this going to unfold? Who is going to step up and be the person that is going to confront and face this masked man? Is it going to be Logan Paul? Is it going to be Austin Theory? Or is it going to be Bronson Reed? The other side of this is, too, who is the masked man? This time around, it's a little bit unpredictable. I think it's, clear there could be a speculation that it could be Seth Rollins. And sure, that could be a match. And could you see Seth Rollins face one of the three of the visions at some point? Sure. But I have to subside with the statement that was said on the Bustin' Open podcast with Bully Ray and I don't even know his name. It's off the top of my head. Anyways, they indicated that whatever this happens, Dave LaGreca, I think that's what his name is. I apologize for butchering it. But I have to aside with what they have said. It makes a lot of sense. The longer we go with this story and we go with this masked man not being revealed, the bigger the storyline has to become, the bigger the person of whoever it is, it has to be. It's going to, if it's not a huge name, the storyline has to make sense. It has to be somebody, if it's not, and the only person that I feel that is perfect for this masked man is Seth Rollins. This was his vision when he first started off. Now they're off doing their own thing, and Seth Rollins has quickly said, you know what? This is not what it is. I'm going to sabotage you. My point is that the longer that this masked man is not revealed week in and week out as we head into WrestleMania, the bigger either the person's going to have to be or the bigger the storyline is going to have to be, because when it does come to being revealed, we are going to judge like no other. Just like we judged on the first time. And we're going to be out, like we're going to be surprised, we're going to be flabbergasted, or we're going to be in complete dismay, and we're basically going to say, look, you guys messed up on this. And this has a lot of potential to being a really good storyline heading into WrestleMania. You match this Masked Man with the right person from the Vision, which honestly, it doesn't matter who you match, you just got to focus on it. And you set up this time, and this time for revealing is the right time. You really have the potential for something amazing to happen here. But it all depends how it falls into place. And it's very easy for the WWE to mess things up. And they've done so in the past to the point where this epically fails. So it doesn't, I personally believe it could be Seth Rollins. Now, I may be corrected. And the reason why I say that is because Seth Rollins was on ESPN the same week that Saudi Arabia was holding the Royal Rumble. Now, they don't really have to use Seth Rollins as, the gimmick is completely masked from head to toe. But who else makes sense as somebody who can intervene into the Vision? What, Jake Paul? And what would that story be in reference to? And is he even healthy enough? Because the last time I saw Jake Paul, he had a broken jaw and his mouth wires shut. And man, that did not look pretty. Could it be a lead up? And why would he personally attack the Vision? Is it something against Logan Paul? And could we see brother versus brother, Logan Paul versus Jake Paul in a wrestling match? Would that even be something that people want to see? And am I even talking nonsense here? But I truly believe that whoever this Masked Man is, the longer we wait, the bigger he's going to have to be. It has to be a complete shock. And the storyline's going to have to make sense. It's going to have to line up. And right now, I don't see all other than this Masked Man is sabotaging the success of Paul. Maybe it's a Paul Heyman advocate that wants to turn on him. Regardless of what it is, I don't see much of it right now. And like I said, we're 8 weeks away from WrestleMania. And I think it's almost time to start seeing it. Because I feel like it's going just a little bit still at this moment. What are your thoughts on today's conversation? I want to know. Please leave a comment in below in our YouTube channel. You could also DM me on our social media pages. You can find us on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and on your YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. And be sure to follow us on all of our audio platforms. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. If we're not on it, let us know, and we will be on it. But that is all the time I have for you guys here this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I'll be back again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Let me know what you guys think about the possible schedule change so that we can give you proper updated information about Reds baseball throughout the course of the year. Let me know down in the comments. And until tomorrow, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Take care.